Are you down? Are you guys interested? That's why join Damon and me and my newsletter is so powerful. That's why, on a lesser extent, social media is so powerful, because you can connect with these audiences, your community, and say, hey, do y'all want this? You set up a sign-up page, people start pre-ordering, they might even start paying you ahead of time, and then you use those resources and that insight to build it from now. My name is Damon Brown at DamonBrown.net. My main thing is help you as a side hustler, a solopreneur, or otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. Today we're talking about the 3 questions you want to ask before actively starting a passive income stream. Now, we all love passive income. At this point, I have about 4 dozen, so about 48 or so passive income streams for my books and so forth. I actually talk about this extensively on this channel, as well as in the book, The Passive Writer, 5 Ways of Making Money in Your Sleep, which I do with my good friend Jeanette Hurt. Shout out to Jeanette. And what we talk about in there is ways that we can create once and then get these multiple income streams from it. You can create a video, you can do a course, you can write a book. Those are all ways that you can create passive income. You create it once, and then people pay you over time. I have books that came out, I don't know, 15 years ago, back when I first started getting serious about authorship. I'm still getting royalties twice a month, or twice a year, which was twice a month, twice a year from that. So there are 3 big questions you want to ask yourself before you really get into a passive income stream. Number 1 thing is, do people actually want this? You have to test it. Do people actually want this? It's a simple question, but we tend to forget it because we get excited about whatever product or idea or service we're trying to do, and then we don't think about what's the actual audience want. There's many different ways to do this. One of the best ways to do this is actually the long game, where you build community before you create a passive income stream. I have my email newsletter at joindamon.me. I've had it for several years. Every Wednesday at 5 a.m., people get delivery. It's a free newsletter where I talk about stuff that I talk about on this channel. So entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, emotional intelligence, and so forth. And I have lots of folks that are subscribed to it. If I have a particular thing that I'm trying to do, then I can touch base with them. I can test market it. I can say, hey, I'm looking at doing this new book. Hey, I'm going to write about this particular topic. And that gives me some type of insight as far as what my audience wants. So many of us do things in a vacuum, and we work on it, and then we bring it up, and we say, hey, it's going to be awesome. And then no one's there. It reminds me a lot of Chris Gillenbaugh, who has a book called Side Hustle. Really good book. Came out around the same time as my book, The Ultimate Bite-Sized Entrepreneur. So in that sense, we're kind of twins. I really love his work and I respect him as a person. What he talks about, selling first, and then you create, and then you ship. Traditionally, we create, we sell, and then we ship. So we make the whole thing first, and then we tell people about it, and then we hope they buy it. He's actually talking about a different track. You sell whatever it is. I'm going to do this online course where I'm talking about such and such. Are you down? Are you guys interested? That's why join Damon and me and my newsletter is so powerful. That's why, on a lesser extent, social media is so powerful, because you can connect with these audiences, your community, and say, hey, do y'all want this? You set up a sign-up page, people start pre-ordering, they might even start paying you ahead of time, and then you use those resources and that insight to build it from now. If you do that, then you don't have to worry about selling it later. And you actually know if they want this. Number 2, how hard can this be to pull off? There might be a great idea that you have. I have lots of ideas, but I have 2 little kids, grade school kids at this point, who I'm the primary caregiver to. I'm writing my books. I'm spending time with y'all on this channel. I'm doing my consulting at DamonBrown.net, so I do one-on-one consulting. I'm doing TED Talks. It's a busy time. So I might not be able to pull off all these different ideas and side hustles that I want to do. But if I go to that evaluation, I can actually figure out what I can do. I talk about that a little bit in my new book, Build From Now, How to Know Your Power, See Your Abundance, and Nourish the World, where I talk about the 4 resources we all have. You can go to buildfromnowquiz.com to take a quiz for free. It takes 2 minutes to learn more about your particular thing. But I talk about that in the book, where you have to know what resources that you have. Based on those resources, you take action. Again, just like the first point, as far as do people actually want this, we tend to say, I want to make this happen. And then we say, okay, how are we going to make it happen? As opposed to saying, I have these resources. And then, and then saying, okay, I can actually do this realistically. That's why I'm able to be so productive and create so much, even though my time and my other resources I talk about and build from now are extremely strapped. So there's power in that. But you have to know exactly what resources that you're working with. You have to start with that. Again, the buildfromnowquiz.com is a good place to start with that. So, number one, you have to figure out if people actually want this. Start with that. If people don't want it, then if it's going to be passive income, it's going to be really hard because no one's going to be giving you passive income, particularly in the later months or years after you do the publicity for it. Number two, how hard is it going to be to pull off? There's an idea that you have a side hustle, solopreneurship, or what have you. My specialty, if you have something you want to do, this might not be the time for it. But if it's something that works within your resources, then go for it. Finally, what would be required to get this to the right people? Like, you might know that people want it. Cool, right? And you might know you can pull it off. But if you can't get it, literally get it to the people, then it doesn't really matter. If I wanted to do a startup that was related to the National Plumbers Association, I don't know if they exist, but National Plumbers Association, that would be very difficult for me. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I have no connection to plumbers. I don't know any plumbers, right? Aside from the folks that have come to my house a few times, I don't know any plumbers. I have no plugs in there. I don't know what plumbers need. I don't know. I wouldn't even barely be able to do an insightful startup about it because I wouldn't know how to help them to be better plumbers because I know nothing about plumbing. So this learning curve is going to be extremely steep. If you're trying to create a passive income stream, one of the best places to start is the stuff you already know. My passive incomes include this channel, which is obviously stuff that I know. It is my teaching program, so my classes for doing your own startups and side hustles at paylansing.teachable.com. I've had that for several years now. Since the original Bites as Entrepreneur came out and became a bestseller, I end up doing a class on there that I regularly update. So I have that. I have a column at damonbrown.com for Inc. magazine. That's giving me passive income every time y'all come to read it. I've been doing that for almost 6 years. The passive incomes I have, including my books, my new one, Built From Now, they're all around things that I know. I'm not going out there and saying, I'm going to create a passive income stream. I'm going to do a side hustle. And it has nothing to do with my knowledge base. I've done 2 startups. Both of them were done while I was primary caregiver of my 2 kids. Doing that, the second one got popular enough. It's called Cuddler, Cuddlr. It got popular enough to have 250,000 users. We ended up selling it less than a year after we launched. We bootstrapped the whole thing. I've done best-selling books about it. I've done ink columns about it. I'm a coach. Everything I talk about on this show, which is one of my passive income streams, if you want to get meta about it, all that's based on my knowledge base because that's my journey. Again, you don't hear me talking about plumbing. Much respect to the plumbers out there and to the other folks that are doing that kind of stuff. But that's not my area. Passive income, as we talk about in The Passive Writer, it's available everywhere. Jeanette and I talk about passive income as it is should not be ridiculously hard work. Even if it's something like a book, your book should be something that's close to the stuff that you know. And then that becomes the foundation for future passive income. I'm just in my 25th book with Build From Now, and these are all based on the knowledge that I have. But more importantly, after doing 25 books, those royalties, like I said, are going back years now, but that took time. That'll be the last insight in regards to passive income, is that it's going to take time. If you're trying to rush to create passive income, that's going to make it harder. So take your time. What do you already know? And remember the 3 things. Do people actually want this? How hard will this be to pull off? And lastly, what will be required to get it to the right people? You answer those questions, you make sure that you're straight on it, and then you're on your way to creating a really good passive income stream, or in my case, multiple, which I highly recommend because it helps even things out, particularly if you're independent. If you want more insight, be sure to check out my playlist that's called Smart Creative Habits and Routines. Be sure to check out the playlist there. It's like 10 videos. It'll give you insights. It's kind of like this video, but it's like, 10 of them. They're each 5 to 10 minutes long. They will give you, hopefully, the game you need to take yourself to the next level. If you want to learn more about me, it's at damonbrown.net. And remember that you can always bring your worth and that you can always build from now. Take care.